Hello, friends, and welcome to Pathologic, Volume 7, Episode 12. Gen Con is right around the corner, and I'll be talking more about that in coming days, but the short of it is I'd love to see you at the Grand Gamers Guild booth, where I will be for at least a couple hours every day. I will have all of my escape room games there, as well as my new release Booba Kiki and a new printing of my older game Stroop. So you can check out all those things at the booth. And today we are going to follow up from yesterday's liar puzzle with another liar puzzle. This is one that we've seen before called Yajisan-Kazusan, and it's another dynasty puzzle as well, just like yesterday's. So it'll be familiar in a lot of ways, but the clues are going to do a different thing. So it's been a bit since we've done these before, and we should refresh ourselves by taking a look at the rules. Yajisan-Kazusan is a shading puzzle. We will shade some cells so that no two shaded cells are orthogonally adjacent, and the remaining unshaded cells form one orthogonally connected area. This is a familiar constraint. That it means orthogonally adjacent means connected horizontally or vertically. Diagonally is okay. And orthogonally connected area means from one unshaded cell we can get to any other unshaded cell just by going horizontally and vertically. If a cell with a number in it is unshaded, the number represents how many shaded cells are in a straight line in the indicated direction. So looking at the example solution here, this 2 clue with an arrow pointing down says we can look south from the clue and we will count exactly 2 shaded cells. This 1 is seeing 1 cell, this 0 is seeing no cells at all. If a cell with a number in it is shaded, the number is meaningless and may be true or false. This is the magic of the genre right here, and you can see that we have 4 clues in the grid which are all shaded, and in the example of this 0, there is a shaded cell in this column. However, because this cell is shaded, we don't have to care about that inconsistency. In this column, this 1 is in fact pointing at one shaded cell, so it's true, but we don't know that it's true because it's shaded. It could be true or false, we just have no information when we shade it. Those are the rules of Yajisan-Kazusan, so it's time to solve a puzzle. Today's supersized Yajisan-Kazusan was set by Jovial. We have a pretty obviously false clue to start us off right up here. There's not going to be 999 more shaded cells in this one spot. So this is false. And that means that the adjacent ones are unshaded, which makes this 4 true. We can unshade this because of the cul-de-sac. We know this is false because there's not an unshaded cell, or there's not a shaded cell left available. We can deal with this cul-de-sac, which tells us that this cell can't be true. And we know that this cell can't be true because if it were, these 2 would have to both be shaded and they're next to each other. And it's a dynasty puzzle and that's not allowed. So this is shaded. Unshading this 3, which gives us 1, 2, 3 shaded cells. And we mark the neighbors. We make sure we don't cut ourselves off in this region or in this cul-de-sac. That gives us a 4 that's true, and it looks like there's exactly enough room for the 4 cells that we are allowed. So let's mark all of those, and then the neighbors are unshaded and therefore true if they're clues. This true 3 gives us these 3 shaded cells. And we got a couple cul-de-sacs that we need to deal with on both sides, it looks like. That has done a lot of work. This 1 clue is true, and we already see the 1 shaded cell, so we get this whole row as unshaded, which is awesome. because that tells us 3 more clues that have to be true. This one looks completely restricted, so it's exactly those 3 cells. And the neighbors are true, including this 8, which is a big number, but it also is a big row. So let's count. 1, 2. Is it constrained? We could have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It is constrained. So it's actually going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Wow. So all of these and the cul-de-sacs with them gives us all of these unshaded. Super generous. We've got a 1 clue that is true and already handled. This 1 clue means one of these is going to be shaded, which is fine. 6 is pretty big. Is it big enough? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not quite big enough. There's a little bit of leeway on this one. 3 going up. Again, a little bit of leeway there. So we may have... Oh, well, this 2 can't be true because the 1 is true here. So that we can't fit another one in. So that's false. We've got this region we can't box off, so that's unshaded. These 2 we're going to have to learn probably from this 6. That's how it's going to happen. So we'll come back to that. We may have dealt with all of the super easy bits and have to think a little bit more about... Are there any other impossibilities that are jumping out? If this 2 were true, that's okay. It could be this one and one of these. This 2 is true. There we go. This is a true 2 clue, which is going to be exactly those 2 cells. Only way we can do it. Unshade the neighbors, and that gives us its friend, another 2 right there, and a cul-de-sac, and a 3, just like this 3 is slightly unconstrained. So we'll leave that alone. A true 4 clue, also a bit of leeway there. Has this done enough for this 5 clue to be interesting yet? How tight can we pack it? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it looks like could be the minimum. I see that couldn't be true because of this 2, but that still gives us a little bit of slop at the end. So I don't think we can use that yet. If this were true, we'd know exactly what was shaded there. Same here, but we don't know if it's true. If this is true, then that's shaded. If this is true, then both of these are shaded, which is fine. Probably staring me in the face and you're shouting at me. Let's see. We got 1 in this domino, 1 in this domino, 1 in this domino from that 3. I want to say something about if these 2s right next to each other are intriguing. It's possible for one to be true and one to be false, or one to be shaded, because shaded doesn't necessarily mean false. We have to remember that. Shaded just means unknown truth value. So that puts a damper on deductions I could make there. There's probably a connectivity thing that we need to be looking at. But this gap, even if this 1 clue is true, that only puts a shaded here. This whole thing is connected and will remain connected. So any connectivity argument is going to have to involve something like proving that one of these has to be shaded. What if this were true? If this were true, then all of these are unshaded, making both of these true, which forces the 3 cells in both cases. I don't see a contradiction there. That seems okay. If this is true, we get the whole column unshaded, which then has the knock-on effect of this being true. Again, okay, I think. What am I missing? This is turning out to be more difficult than it seemed right at the beginning. Okay, let's go back to this fiver. If we pack it as tightly as we can, we get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That means that this is true, and it needs 2 more. So since this is true, we can't pack it that tightly. We need to have a shaded cell in one of these 2 spots. Is that anything? It just means that it becomes possible for this to be true. I think that's all that means. There's gonna be something about. I'm gonna do some speculative marking and see if I can see anything. If this is true, then those 2 are shaded. This is unshaded. That's unshaded. I don't see a problem with that. If this is shaded, then this can't be true, so that's shaded. I think we're okay. There's going to be something that makes, like, cuts this off, is what I'm looking for. Something along those lines. 4 is true. If this is also true, one of these is shaded. Okay. Maybe it's this 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I mean, that has given me that cell, but I don't think that's going to have any knock-on effects. But we know that one of these is shaded, one of these is shaded, and one of these is shaded. I don't see how that helps me, however. Same thing with these dominoes coming up this direction. And if there were something else in the same row or another clue pointing in the same direction, that could give me a lot of information. And yet, I don't see that that is the case. I think it's probably going to be impossible. Oh, there it is. Okay. We're in business again. This cannot be shaded. If this is shaded, this is unshaded, and this clue forces this to be shaded, which isolates that cell. That is the crucial deduction, because as soon as we know this is unshaded, we can do all the stuff that we were talking about before. This being unshaded means this entire column is unshaded. And as soon as that's true, this clue is true, and we already have the shaded cell, so we get this entire row unshaded, giving us both of these 3 clues, which are both true and constrained. So they do this in both cases. Unshade the neighbors. I'm confident that was the big thing I was missing, and we are going to be off. 4 in this column. 1, 2, 3, 4. Done. We've got cul-de-sacs. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3 clue here is done. Only one way to do that. Oops, not that one. Unshade the neighbors. This region escapes here. This cul-de-sac escapes there. We have... now I just need to scan for what's available. If this were true, both of these would be shaded, which is a contradiction. This is false. That makes this one true, so that's shaded, as is that one. This is true, which shades that one. This is true, which shades that to fill it out the number. And the 6 being true, 1, 2, 3. We can fit 2 more here, 4, 5. We need to shade that one, regardless. We have a 5 here, 1, 2, 3. Only one way to finish that out, which is these two. Unshade the neighbors. The 6 is now defined. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2 cul-de-sacs to fill out these two. And what's looking at these? This 1, if true, makes that shaded. Fine. It's going to be this 6 probably. Let's look at this 3 clue. That is true. Forcing those 3. And we've got a cul-de-sac. We've got a 1 that's true. Shades that one. Cul-de-sac comes out here. 6 is true. 1, 2, 3, 4. We still have a little bit of room there. But this 1 clue is true. So that shades this one. Which then makes us resolve this cul-de-sac. And now gives us the information for the 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 in this domino. 6 right here. Which unshades that. Forces this shaded for the 1. And we just need to figure out which of these two is the shaded one, which we can tell from this 3 clue. Scanning up here, only one way to do that. Unshade the neighbors of that one. And finally, this 6 clue resolves it by saying 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are shaded. And despite that big ol' hiccup in the middle, I think I can say that is how you solve a Yajisan-Kazusan.